Hi, it's Steve, your veteran with PTSD travels. Just doing a quick little preamble for the videos, starting with why I'm doing it for me. This is my healing journey, and that's what it's really all about. So, on that note, it's a healing journey. Let's try to keep the the negative comments, sorry, to a minimum. And if we could also avoid politics talk, that'd be great. I'm not going to answer questions about what caused my PTSD or anything like that. I'm looking to the future, not the past, which is the first step. So, yeah, why don't you follow me on my journey? Thanks. Hi, it's me, the broken guy again. Had a bad couple days. Yesterday I did post a video, but it was from the day before. That video hit me so hard that I didn't do anything yesterday. I did have appointments to do. And then today I had a triggering conversation with a friend. It's unfortunate that my triggers are what they are, because there are people that require help that are still serving in the military that are not always being treated justly or fairly, or even according to the regulations. So I give advice, and then I'm fried for the rest of the day. Should I allow that to happen? Well, no. That word "should" is not a very good word. Should implies external or it implies pressures to behave a certain way. I have been trying to retrain my vocabulary to omit the word "should." Some days I can, some days I cannot. Today is a day that I should do better. So it'll be a very discombobulated video, but I think it's one that it's important for me to try to do. And the reason is that, honestly, talking helps me sort my thoughts out. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Or at least how to move beyond the feelings that I'm currently that are currently engulfing me. Yeah, I had been discussing in the last video the trip to Antigua. Totally got waylaid by it was my second trip to Antigua, and I totally got waylaid by my retelling of the medium story. Not going there again. You heard it once, that's enough. It is a strange world that that we live in, because there's so many things and so many ways that we can be affected by it. Something like that was it hit me hard. Although that where the medium went with that conversation and what we talked about was really good for my mental health. It hurt at the time because I wasn't expecting to hear either about or from Michelle at that point in time. So that was a hard moment, but it was actually really good to hear, that I felt that I was doing the right things, and it was nice to, even if it was, you know what, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. So the second trip was effective in showing me that I felt I was on the right path and that I was doing the right things. And the sea trial and the survey showed me that I was what I was expecting to learn. There was nothing brought up, nothing really new in the sea trial or the survey. So that was really good. It's good to have that. It's nice to see that the things that you think are working out, or that it's nice to not be surprised by new things that are found out when you were excited by the possibility of something. So, yeah, we did the sea trial, did the survey. It was excellent, and it was great at showing me what was needed. And the sea trial itself was fantastic in that it showed me that sailing doesn't have to hurt. So there was no heeling. Remember I said the sailboats, when they get in the wind, they go like that. So there's no heeling on the catamaran, and we sailed along, and man, it was glorious. It was fantastic. Just the sailing part. We were up for an hour or two. It wasn't a big sail or anything like that, but the point of it wasn't to have a big experience. It was due to a shakeout on the boat to see if there was anything that needed to be negotiated in the cost of purchase. A couple minor things, but we renegotiated a smaller amount and slightly lesser amount, and it actually worked out quite well. I was very happy. The surveyor was an independent person. He was happy with my cost as well. He said I got a good deal. So it was just all those things. I mean, a good deal, maybe not a good deal, but it was an accurate. No, it was a good deal. I'm sticking with that. It was a good deal. So I was very happy in many ways. It was a great experience and whatnot. Having the boat, the purchase of the boat, and then I got back on that island, surrounded by people that I had met the first time, and friendships bloomed and blossomed, which was fantastic. It's leading me to where I think I might be going with life, in that going there were no real triggers. I mean, I wasn't even in Canada. So going there were no real triggers for my PTSD in a a bureaucracy, a military institution kind of way. If we brought things up, or if I was talking to people from home, it would be. The only thing that was really triggering there was, and I actually had a really big breakdown a couple times. Once in that trip. And it was because I thought that I would be able to go out to eat at a restaurant, and behind them there is a big open concert area. And the night that I got there, it was after the tot, so I'd had a tot, and so didn't have a lot of drinks before or after, so I was feeling okay. It's not like the alcohol was, really inhibiting me or anything like that at this point. I sat down at this restaurant to have my lasagna. It was quite tasty, a little bit sweet, but it was good. Maybe a little bit too much garlic powder too, but that's neither here nor there. It was good. It was tasty. I loved the amount of cheese on it too. But the point is that as I'm sitting there, I had, a beer with supper. I wasn't, I had made the conscious choice not to drink copious amounts, because of the first time of the first visit. Here's my dog. The first visit was really showed me that the alcohol is not my friend. It's never your friend, and you know that. But given my situation and my mental health, Alcohol's definitely not my friend. So that led me to going out this night. I did have a tot. It was earlier. This is like an hour or two later, whatever. And I'm having a beer with dinner, and then the music started because they were just warming up to this point, and then the music started, and then people started showing up. Even though I was sitting on the outside of the restaurant, I was sitting next to a set of stairs. So it was all a lot of things that I didn't realize were going to be triggering. So my back was to these set of stairs instead of to like open air. So it was very, I just started feeling vulnerable. And then because the music got so loud, I couldn't hear anything around me then. I'm sort of reliving the moment. It's not fun. However, it's allowing me to revisit it in a calmer, cooler sense. Being out here in the middle of the woods, no noise, no wind. It's allowing me not to sink back into that moment, which is kind of nice. I'm sitting on the edge of this restaurant. Food was just delivered, and then the thump thump really starts going. A lot of loud singing, and then crowds start showing up, coming up these stairs. So I see movement out of the corner of my eye. I was really, I was feeling safe, and then there was a switch flicked basically in my feeling of safety, and I was not feeling safe anymore. And so not feeling safe, being overwhelmed with the noise, with the crowds, with people, was really it overwhelming is the best word to put it. My whole body went into a state of shock, and I was only, I think, less than half of the way through my lasagna, and I actually had to. My eyes were like big as pies, and I asked the server if she could bring me a to-go thing. She's like, "Is everything all right?" I'm like, "No," and then just her saying, "Is everything all right?" along with everything else, and now I'm looking. I broke down, and I had an overwhelming surge of emotions, and I couldn't control anything. And man, I was like, "No, nothing is all right," and I full breakdown, bawling, sitting there in a restaurant. Like, if you have PTSD, you are gonna have these times where you are completely overwhelmed by the world, and it doesn't matter what you do. So realizing what your triggers are is going to be very important. And do I regret going to that restaurant at that time of day? Not really. It was really hard and it sucked. However, it was great in the fact that it was really it was great in the fact that I learned a lot about myself during all of these trips, and that is one of them as well. I learned something that is not a very smart idea, especially if I'm alone. Although the third trip was also equally hard for one instance. I'll tell you about that one another time. Anyway, excuse me. It was a lot. It was extremely hard. Excuse me again. I broke down, and I had a panic attack, and I needed to get the hell out of Dodge. So she brought me over the thing. I quickly paid and grabbed my food, and I was walking away through a crowd of people, because now it's like I don't know, 10 o'clock. I don't even know what time it was. It wasn't 10. Like, I don't even know what time it was because I lost track of everything. Oh, might be start getting windy. Sorry about that. If it's windy, I'll talk a little louder. That's weird. No, I'll stop for a second. There. It's less windy now. Okay. Yeah, I left the restaurant, food in hand, and don't even care. I'm like in the middle of crowds, pushing my way through, and just tears. A lot of strange looks, but it is what it is. No one really, no one said anything. No one did anything. We think people care about what's going on in our lives a lot more, right? There's a meme going out there, and it really makes sense. In everyone else's life, you're basically an NPC. In your life, you are the main character, but everybody else around you is all NPCs, basically, right? So don't live your life for them, because it's not going to matter, because they don't see you as the main character anyway. All that I was for any of these people that I walked by as I was crying was just another story, as another side quest that they could follow if they really wanted to, but nobody did. So, for those that aren't in the know, NPC stands for non-player character. It is a term that is used for video games or for other role-playing type games, tabletop games, some board games. Non-player characters basically have one role, and that's to show the player character, the main character, what they're supposed to do in the world, or where they're supposed to go, or be, someone to interact with to make the experience more realistic and unique. It's pretty big brain stuff there. Because in the end of the day, that's all we are. We are the main character in our own lives. But in everyone else's life, well, in most people's lives, we're just an NPC. You can continue to live like an NPC. Now, if you are an NPC in your own life, you got some work to do. I'm refusing to be an NPC in my life. I want to be the main character. So I'm getting out and pushing myself to do these experiences. They're hard. They are so hard. And you're gonna have times like this. Even people without PTSD have their own issues. Like, everybody has their own issues. And you're gonna have your own shit to go through. I have my own shit to go through, along with some PTSD stuff. And that's where we are. That's okay. Other than that, the trip was excellent. Again, like I said, I was feeling extremely safe there. English Harbor in Antigua is an extremely safe place to be. I see, and for anybody that is wondering, it's safe for men and women. I saw a lot of even solitary females walking down the road, because it's all very local. It's all very localized. It's a small little peninsula. There's really not there's not really a large place to go. Everything is within, everything is within like 600 meters, I think. So, and there's lots of pubs, lots of restaurants, bars, the one dance place. There's even a tennis court beside that dance place. Like it's an awesome little spot, and it is it's very safe. So on top of my own personal issues with not feeling safe all the time, it was very helpful to be in a place that I felt safe and didn't have to worry about my about all of the things that were happening in the world with me. So that was helpful, and those are the reasons that I consider that island magical, because it was able to show me that, you know, I can live the life as a player character again instead of a non-player character. I don't have to live in the vicious cycle. Now, one thing it did show me, or one thing that I'm learning, and I'm not really sure where to go with it. Oh, there's Molly. One of the things I don't really know where to go with everything is when I'm home, I used to be an extrovert. I still am, really. I'll talk to anybody. I'm potentially talking to lots of people in the future here, if people want to start looking at my videos. And the big thing is that I don't have... Molly likes to bark a lot. It's okay. She's very distracting, though. My head's not in a good space today, so any distraction is not necessarily welcome, but it doesn't matter if it's welcome or not. It's gets my brain gone. What was I saying? And this is what's going to happen to you. Not just me, to anybody that has these issues. When you get triggered, or if you're talking about things that are triggering, you're going to lose focus because you keep getting brought back to these moments. Oh yes, extrovert. I know a lot of people in the area, at home, all around Canada, and as I talk about it, I know people around the world. So it's hard in that everyone that you talk to has an expectation of who you once were, of who they think you should be. There's that external pressures, right? There's an expectation. There's expectations everywhere, and even if there's a lot of no pressures, they and I used to say this to people all the time as well. There's no pressure, just letting you know. By saying no pressure, you're showing me that I do have pressure, but it's internal pressure. It's perceived pressure. And it's the pressures that I put on myself to be who I once was. So when you aren't pressuring me to attend or to be somebody, just the reminder by saying no pressure then that gets me thinking about how I used to be and how now there's pressure and now I'm pressuring myself. It's a vicious cycle. So I don't know what to do there, but I used to think that it was very helpful to say no pressure to people. It doesn't help as much as you think, unfortunately. That's not calling anybody out. That's just this is my time to lay it all out there, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, that's where I am. Which leads me to being at home, feeling pressure to be something and to be who I once was, because in a lot of ways I am not just, ex-military. I'm not just something. I'm not just a former, soccer coach. I'm also I'm a widower. So I also have children, and we have family friends, and we have families, and there's a lot of expectations there to be something that I either no longer am, or that I am not capable of being at the moment. That's kind of where I'm at, and it's not cool. So along those lines, it's not really it's not okay to leave and run away from it. It is okay to separate yourself from those situations for long enough to be able to manage your own expectations and be able to manage your own healing times. Yeah. Which leads me to, so that was the second trip, did all those things, taught me a lot of those things. And then the third, so when I arrived back in Canada after that second trip, it was the same thing. The skyline of Toronto set me off. I wasn't in a good place. Canada still wasn't a friendly place to me. And it really showed me a lot of things that I wasn't, content with. I didn't rage out this time. I didn't rage quit. I didn't have to be called out by anybody saying this isn't the place. Now, granted, that first trip when I arrived in Toronto, that first person who called me out, he wasn't hard on me about it. He wasn't. He was just like, whoa, what's going on, man? It's very BC. And so I had, after a little bit more ranting, I explained what was going on, and he was like, oh, okay. So he was still really good about me being the way I was. We had a good chuckle about it after I calmed down, and I actually thanked him for helping me. For helping me get to that point. It was actually quite kind of him to help me out when I didn't start out very nice. Not to him, I was just ranting and raving. So the second trip I didn't have anything like that happen. So that was growth. I learned a few things about myself, right? I had to do a lot of breathing. This was when I really came to the realization that my headphones were required with the PTSD soothing music. Was really helpful. The noise canceling kept the crowds down to a minimum. Right, the music helped a lot, and it just kept me in a better place. And realizing that Toronto Airport is, it is what it is. One person having a bad day through Toronto Airport isn't going to change anything. And so I can still be frustrated, I can still be upset, and I can still be unhappy with where I was. But ranting and raving wasn't going to help anything. Because at the end of the day, when you're ranting and raving, you're only punishing yourself. That was a big one to learn too. Because you're not punishing anybody. Nobody else cares. There's something to remember. No one cares. Your close friends care. They just care about your mental health. And they care that you're all right. People don't care that you're ranting and raving, like why you're ranting and raving. They just want to help you come to that realization that it's okay. Or help you fix an issue if there's an issue to be fixed. If you're ranting and raving just because that's what you feel you have to do, you are only punishing yourself. Something I learned. So that was me getting back to Toronto. Then getting back to Halifax is what it is. It was good in that aspect. And then I arrived home for Christmas because it was the beginning of December that I got home. So then I was home for Christmas. It was great to be home for Christmas. Great to be home with the girls. But honestly, I'm toast. I'm fried at this point. I wanted to say a few words. I wanted to talk. I didn't want to let the last couple days, dictate how the rest of the day was going. I didn't want to let my conversation with my friend earlier regarding the military dictate how my day was going to go. So I wanted to get out and put a positive spin on my life, my world. And this is one of them. So here we are. I'm good now. I'm not really. Not good, but I'm better than I was. I'm smiling again. So there's that. It's good to keep smiling. Anyways, I didn't go through a word of the day. I think today's word of the day is today's words of the day are player character. Let's just go with NPC. Today's word of the day is NPC. Don't be an NPC. You don't need to be an NPC in your own life, and you don't need to be an NPC in anyone else's life. You can positively affect other people's outcomes. But most importantly, don't be an NPC in your own life. You want to be the main character. You don't want to put off the vibes that you're just here taking up, eating and breathing and taking up space. Because, and it's not, you don't want to put off that vibe for anybody else but yourself. Because it's not healthy for you to feel that way. And I'm not an NPC. I don't know if I've really ever been an NPC in my own world, but it is what it is. I'm definitely not now. I'm facing my fears and my issues so that I'm not feeling like an NPC. So, today's word of the day, NPC. Don't be a non-player character. You are the main character. Be that guy. All right, love yous all.